Alright. So
I'm good to go and everyone else is. Oh, wait, let me. Fuck. I'm not quite good to go, actually.
you fuck on your own time, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Hey.
Hey, no, we're fucking together.
Oh, man. How does it work? 2 tops or 2 bottoms? I don't know how to do this when you're a 3-man group. How do you do it?
You switch. Everyone switches.
Electric chair, like musical chairs. It's just like every couple of minutes. It's just like, hey, everybody move.
Yeah, you just throw a stopwatch on it. Just like, hey, your 3 minutes is up, Julius. 3 minutes.
Did you say 3 minutes?
Yes. The new Maga and Rosie come busting in.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no.
Welcome, cats and kittens, to a very special WrestleMania-themed entry into the annals of Cewshcast No Longer 5000. We are here today to talk about the very biggest event in the wrestling year. It is not, as you may have suspected, a reuniting of Vince Russo and his promotion Ring of Glory. It is actually WWE WrestleMania 32. We're going to go through all the predictions and previews today. We're going to go through NXT TakeOver Dallas, because of course we're going to talk about that shit. It's got Nakamura on. I don't give a shit about anything else going on that weekend. But we're also going to get into that. We're going to make all sorts of fun predictions, get to your questions later on. But for now, let's introduce the 2 people who you know and love, who have always been talking about this shit since time began. Artie and Julius, say hello.
Hello. Happy WrestleMania week, everybody.
Happy WrestleMania week and happy Easter if you're into that thing. That's what we're doing right now. Not actually celebrating Easter. It's just that day. So we can say that this is the Easter edition of the podcast too.
Julius, you can keep your weird ass religious stuff to yourself, buddy. All right. So as usual, I'm just gonna go ahead and hand things right over to Julius because he does all of our previews and predictions, and we're gonna spend a shit ton of time breaking down this weird WrestleMania card. Jules.
All right, so as usual, we have our predictions contest, and only one of us can win. Last time that this happened, me and Artie came to a tie, and like usual, Cewsh completely bombed. So we're going to see how this one turns out, because some of this isn't quite as predictable as I thought. Really, this WrestleMania is just, like, super weird. Like, the card as a whole just shapes up kind of oddly, like... Part of that is due to injuries. Part of that, I just don't think they have any idea what to do with the talent they have. And like they've built some interesting stories, and like I think at least there are 2 matches on this card that look and sound awesome and have all the potential to deliver. But everything else is a mixed bag in one way or another. So we're going to go ahead and start with one that I'm not even sure who I should think should win. It's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't know, like, since it's supposedly Mark Henry's last WrestleMania and it's going to be in Texas, I want to say that it's going to be Mark Henry. And part of that is also just because not that many people are announced to be in it yet, and I have no clue who else they'd actually want to win it, because anyone that they'd want to try and give a push of some sort seems either injured or busy with something else at WrestleMania, so I'm just going to go ahead and say, yeah, fuck it. I think it'll be Mark Henry. Hopefully, we get some surprise victory that's cooler than that, but I'm cool with Big Mark getting, a bone thrown at him, as long as the match is entertaining, which it was at least the first year, so I'm hoping we get at least that much quality.
Big Mark is actually, that's a good shout. That's what I've been saying, like, I think it's a nice little parting gift for the guy. Like, as weird as it sounds, Mark Henry's one of the all-time longest employees of this company. He's never left. He's been here since 1995. That's 22 years. The only person who hasn't beat out is 21 years. The person who's got to beat is Taker, Howard Finkel. Like, there's not a lot of people who've been in the company that long.
Right.
So why not give him like a nice little, here's something on your way out in your home state, but I actually think they'll use that to give heat to the actual winner, and I do believe you should always go out on your back. I think he'll be I think he'll be in the final four. And the other three will be the three remaining Wyatt family members. And then Strowman will throw him out, and then Strowman and Rowan will jump over as Bray Wyatt claims victory. So my pick is Bray Wyatt.
Roman and Roman.
What?
I don't know. I kind of feel like in his old age, I don't think the Big Show is going to be ready to hang it up for like another 5 years. So I think that if you're going to have him just be something in his old age, where he's getting kind of limited and he's not really doing so much anymore, just make him the king of battle royals like Andre used to be. I mean, that's sort of like following in the tradition of Andre the Giant. I mean, that was his thing. Like, you couldn't beat him in a battle royal. They've already made him a major part of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal forever. So I think this is the one where Big Show wins, because there's nobody else really in it. Why not? Just have Big Show fucking mash everybody up and then build it up for next year where somebody cool can beat him.
Yeah, but Big Show won last year.
I know. Have him win again. I'm saying he wins every time until you can use it to put somebody over, because who cares who wins?
Honestly, he could just win every single year for the next, 15.
Yes, he's Andre's son.
It wouldn't make any lick of difference if they did that, to be fair.
No, I mean, it's just for fun. Who cares?
Yeah, the fucking gimmick on this thing died the first year.
And imagine how much bigger it would have been if Big Show had won 5 years in a row and then Cesaro had beaten him. It just would have been a bigger thing.
Yeah.
All right, so we got you with Big Show, Artie with Bray Wyatt, me with Mark Henry. So let's go on to another match that I assume will end up on the pre-show. Maybe not, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. It's Team Lana versus Team Brie. I'm not sure if this match has been officially announced yet still, but it's definitely something that's going to happen in one way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter who is going to be on each team. The point is that it's basically some Total Divas crap, probably Brie's farewell, and a way of getting Lana finally involved in ring, I assume. I mean, I don't really have any opinion on this match. I don't want a Total Divas division. I don't want them to be in a little bubble. I'd rather most of these ladies, not even most of them, but a good number of these ladies trimmed off the roster, and the rest mixed in with the regular thing, especially now that Emma's mixed in with them. She should be mixing it up with the other girls who, will actually put the effort forth, or at least will be given the chance to put the effort forth. If I had to pick who's going to win, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Team Brie as her, farewell, thank you for everything.
Yeah, Brie is the face team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, them for sure. I don't even think it's a question.
I don't even know if this is going to be a real match. I mean, I know that they're going to get into a ring and something's going to happen, but I just honestly can't see how this is even really a thing. Lana's going to wrestle? Why? Who asked for that? What's the fucking point of that? She's a manager, a valet. She's an actress with no wrestling experience. That's a hallmark to a much darker period in WWE history. So I don't fucking know. I would guess that Brie's team will win, and that's the prediction I'll make, but why? Just why?
Just as an aside, this is going to be it for Brie. She's done right after this. I guess to go home and tend to Brian. So, I don't know if you guys heard, Brian got pulled from all the events. He's, apparently not doing too well.
I did hear about that, yeah. What the fuck happened?
I think rumor has it that the man's super depressed after retiring from wrestling. So, to me, I do hope Brie wins so she gets a last WrestleMania moment, because fuck it, she deserves it. Whatever, why not? Whatever, what the fuck. And I just hope that everything is okay with Brian. And I actually really applaud Brie for being I'm going to cut my career short because my husband actually needs me. And I think the company does have a big fear of, with all the head trauma, as much as I hate to say it, we all know what happens to a lot of wrestlers when they fall into depression and they have a lot of severe head trauma. So hopefully Brie taking off and going to stay by Brian's side prevents anything bad from happening to him.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something where like Brie had like a bad injury too, like her back or something like that?
No,
was
that's
Nikki, wasn't
Nikki.
it?
Oh, that was
has a-
Nikki. Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
So,
Nikki's neck is injured, and she might need to retire unless she comes back. I think she's done too.
fuck's sake. Well, I mean that's fucking terrible, man, and I don't blame Brie at all for leaving. I don't know if this is necessarily the send off that she was looking for. You know what I mean? But I mean, if she wins this, good for her. Why suck in all of these different talents for this weird ass feud? You know what I mean? Like, why bring Emma up? Why bring anybody up?
I think, I think that this is the Divas division Vince McMahon wants. So he's trying to compete with Triple H, like, ha, you got 3 women in a match. Check out what I got, buddy. 10 women in a match. And he's going to just show Triple H what women's wrestling is all about.
Save us, Vince McMahon.
Save us from yourself.
Okay, so next up is another match that has now been relegated to the pre-show, and that is the Dudley Boys versus the Usos. And, like, build-wise, it's been decent. I kind of forgot about it for a couple weeks there, but I dig Dudley's as heels. I think I kind of like that we're getting a separate tag team match that's, not involving the tag team titles. It gives, like, the Usos, like, on SmackDown, they got to look, like, pretty badass, and they don't normally get to look like badasses. And so, like, I feel like there's potential here for the match to be interesting and could maybe be a star-making moment. I mean, not that Usos need it, but, it could help, like, characterize them a bit more. Otherwise, though, I don't really see the match. I don't immediately see it being anything special. I guess I'm going to go ahead and say that the Dudleys win because maybe they're trying to build the Dudleys towards a title run as heels, especially now that New Day are seemingly turning face. So, yeah, I'm going to say the Dudleys.
Is this a pre-show match, or is this...
If I'm not mistaken, I think on Raw or SmackDown they officially said that it was put to the pre-show.
That's funny, because that would be 3 years in a row that Usos run the pre-show.
I know! That sucks for them.
Hey, man, you get paid the same, so, like, I'm sure they don't care if you're on the pre-show or the third hour.
That's true. And it was not the same as it used to be when the pre-show wasn't so accessible.
Yeah, and plus the idea of the pre-show this year, with the fact that the pre-show was simultaneously on USA Network.
Oh, yeah.
I think the idea is to load it up, so if someone's just flipping the channels, they go, oh, look, wrestling's on. And then they're like, oh, WrestleMania's? I can buy the network for $10, or fuck it, might as well order the pay-per-view, or whatever, it is a solid sell.
Right. It makes sense to put the Dudley Boys on there in that sense, too. Because people might be like, oh, yeah, those guys, the table guys, ironically.
And the funny thing is, so I didn't know this was a feud. I haven't really watched Raw for the last month and a half. And so I asked my buddy, I'm like, dude, why is this on the card? He goes, this has been a feud for like 2 months now. I said, oh, really? I have no clue. I'm guessing that the Usos pull out the win. As the kings of the pre-show, why not?
Yeah, the reason you don't know that it's been a feud, even if you had been watching it, is because it hasn't been a feud. Every week, like, the Usos come out and have a match, and the Dudley Boys just cut like a promo, and that's the whole feud. Like, there's nothing heated here. It's just, and it boils down to, like, all right, what should they feud about? Well, one of them's old. All right, respect. And yeah, that's what the feud is about. It means nothing, though. I will say that Bubba Ray got in a pretty sick burn about how Rikishi was fat as fuck and how they together are not as good as him. That was pretty solid on Raw. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
I just hope he did it in full Scott Steiner mode, just like, Rikishi's got a fat ass.
I wish that he had. I mean, honestly, I don't know, or if it even really matters who wins this match. I'm probably going to be saying that a lot throughout the course of this prediction preview because it doesn't really fucking matter who wins these matches. I mean, most of them don't have any stakes whatsoever. This is not a real feud, and it'll be over the second WrestleMania is over, so I don't know. The Usos? Sure, why not?
Hey, Cewsh, did you say steaks? Did I mention that we are now sponsored by Trump Steaks, a delicious steak sold exclusively through Sharper Image? Get your Trump steak today.
I don't believe I voted for that endorsement, but sure.
Okay, so next up is a match that is, at least so far, guaranteed to be on the actual card, and that is Kalisto versus Ryback for United States Championship. I know a lot of people aren't like too gung-ho about this feud. I mean, it is kind of last minute, but these two actually had a really good match. I think it was on SmackDown during the first round of the tournament that they did for the title for Survivor Series this last year, and Ryback essentially worked heel in that match. So I feel like this can be like a continuation of that, but like with Ryback actually being a full-on heel. I think this match has a lot of potential to be enjoyable, special, one of the first really good small guy, big man matches in a while. And I'm honestly hoping, I don't know, it's weird because I like this little Ryback push they've been doing. It hasn't been 100% entertaining, but I've enjoyed most of it. But I can't imagine them ending Kalisto's reign anytime soon, and also can't imagine them making Ryback lose after this sudden new push and this new evolution of character. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with as Cewsh always says, I think this is a case where the babyface always wins rule works, and I'm going with Kalisto.
Okay, so Cewsh and I actually talked about this last week about this mysterious new push for the Ryback. So he's actually my pick. I think he wins it, has a little run with the U.S. title, gets fucked out of it, moves up to feuding with Reigns for the WWE title. So I think the Ryback takes it here.
Let's see. You pick Kalisto, right, Jules?
Yeah.
All right. This is another match where I don't know. It does matter who wins, but ultimately it matters more who wins in the long run, because either one of these guys could genuinely have a great future ahead of them in the next year in terms of what kind of pushes they get, in terms of how high up the card that they get. But I think only one of them has that opportunity. And honestly, sitting here at this point, I don't know which one it is. Ryback has momentum, but Kalisto has crowd support, and he's selling merchandise and all this good stuff. They seem to like him. Ryback's already had his chance a little bit, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know which one of these two it's going to be. Whichever one wins here is probably the one who will go on to long-term success, but it's genuinely hard to tell. So I'm just going to say Kalisto because I think he's the one with the better chance of long-term success. But fuck, man, if Ryback wins, I'd be the last person to be surprised.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment, too. I just don't... It's hard to say who's going to win because they're both kind of in a similar position as to who, and I think you're right about it. This being telling of who they're going to kind of support going forward. Though hopefully both guys get a chance. Obviously the Ryback's probably on his last chance, so we'll see how he does with that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, both guys are stuck in these hot and cold pushes where one week the company has a rocket up their ass. Oh my God, this is the Ryback. He's the man. Watch him beat people. And then the next week they're just like, oh look, it's Ryback here to lose to Roman Reigns. And then one week they'll be like, oh, Kalisto, he's the ultimate underdog, heart of a warrior, fighting champ. And then the next week they're like, oh, let's have him lose to Del Rio. And you're like, are you pushing these guys or not?
Right. That's no joke. That is a very bad problem they have with both of them that they need to fix. Okay, so next up is the match involving the tag team champions, but not involving the tag team titles in the match. It's a handicap match, and because of the established Freebird rules and all that, I don't see why they can't say that the titles are on the line. I feel like since all the champions are in there, all of the tag team of the New Day are in there, there's no reason that they can't just say it's for the title. The only reason I can think that they would do that is if they actually wanted the League of Nations to win, but I don't think that's their plan at all. I think the fact that they're not defending the titles is more a sign that they want the New Day to win and look good and potentially, build up towards being strong baby faces to lose to the Dudley Boys. I'm not sure I feel the New Day being baby faces, but they were getting strong support as it was. It was really hard to get the crowds to boo them nowadays. So I get the mentality behind it as long as they keep them doing the thing that they do. I don't know, the whole like obnoxious personality doesn't work when they're baby faces as much. You know, like it works when they're supposed to be annoying. But it's like when you cheer them, when they're supposed to be cheered, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it feels backwards, you know? So as for the match itself, I'm going to say that the New Day get it just because I don't know. Like, I just don't see them giving the League of Nations anything here unless it's just because, hey, we like Sheamus, sort of. Let's keep giving him a little bit of a rub.
So I actually have a theory on why the tag titles aren't on the line. I don't believe the match stays 3-4. I think the New Day bust out a mystery partner to even up the odds.
Okay.
And that's why the tag titles are on the line. And that mystery partner will be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
I'm just saying, it's 1,000,000 to 1, but if it happens, you all owe me a fucking drink. And you never fucking know, right? Can't you see it now? Stone Cold comes out, blue and pink trunks, clapping his way down to the ring, unicorn horn on his head. He's just going, Stone Cold rocks. Stone Cold rocks.
I think if you wanted something to kill the mystique of Steve Austin in like 12 seconds, that entrance would do it.
And it would be great. Like, imagine he has like the ATV, and it's got like a rainbow flag on the back that just floats along behind him. And the ATV has a unicorn horn. It'd be, oh god, it'd be so great. But regardless, yeah, New Day's winning, and you can almost hedge your bets on King Barrett taking the pin, considering it's his, he's on his way out.
Yeah, I would say definitely New Day is going to win. It's possible that the League could, but I don't. While they seem to like the League, I don't think that they like anybody in the League, if that makes sense. Like, they're not really going anywhere with any of those guys anymore. Sheamus, I think, got his last run on top. I think that's pretty much over and done with. He's like the least focused on member of the whole team, and he was just world champion this year.
Yeah.
That's sadly true.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely the New Day. I don't know about the Steve Austin thing, but the idea of having a mystery partner join them certainly is a good one. I don't really know who it is that they would want to get. It could be a whole lot of people. Didn't they have like a little thing with Mark Henry for like 5 seconds?
Yeah, but Mark Henry's in the Battle Royal, so I think.
I don't know. What's Booker T doing these days?
Why do they have to be black?
Because he's from Texas.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, all black people come from Texas. Come on, Julius, keep up.
Well, I hope it's just like, hey, we brought out Austin, and it's just like, hey, it's still going to be a handicap match, but it's going to be 7-on-1, and then Undertaker and Kane come out dancing and clapping. We're the Brothers of Destruction.
The Brothers of Destruction.
Yes. Oh, God, Cewsh. Make this booking happen. Okay, so next up is the Intercontinental title ladder match. I believe that it is Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Zack Ryder, Sin Cara, and Stardust. That's everyone that's in it, right?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Tatanka, the Hurricane, Rosie, etc.
Trevor Lee's in this one, right?
Trevor Lee, yeah, absolutely. Will Ospreay is also in this. He's in everything else.
Johnny Gargano?
Johnny Gargano, the return of John Cena. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Brie Bella is actually in this one too, I think.
No, guys, this is finally, we're going to reveal that everything was a work. It was all to make this big push for Willie Mack.
Oh, no. It's,
dude.
This is where the social outcasts are going to form up into Kurgan for the first time so they can reach up for the belt.
All right. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what their plan is here. I really don't like that they added in 3 other people that didn't need to be there. There's no reason that this couldn't have just been a fatal 4-way or a triple threat. I mean, I get why it wouldn't be a triple threat because we already have one triple threat. But I don't know. It's not like last time where at least everyone that was involved were actively a part of the build towards the ladder match. Whereas this time it's like, you had 4 people that were actively a part of it, and then they just randomly threw in these 3 jobbers just to say, oh, hey, everyone wants the Intercontinental title. Kevin Owens has to fight against the odds. Ha, 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 ha. I want to say, I mean, so far I've had, like, every title getting defended. And to me, it's either going to be a wild card person winning the belt, or it's going to be Kevin Owens defending. I guess there's a possibility Zayn could win and then like lose it the next night, or who knows, even just keep it. But I think one way thing is for sure, this is going to be a launching off point for the Owens-Zayn feud. So I guess I'm going to have to say, fuck it. I just feel like it's going to be Kevin Owens. I think they need to keep the belt in one spot, and that's why I'm putting my prediction.
Okay. Stick with me, guys. Okay. So, there's carnage everywhere, right? Stardust fell off a ladder. Sin Cara's been powerbombed through something. Dolph Ziggler is probably just dead. It's down to just a few people left. Owens and Zayn are climbing the ladder, fighting. They're pounding each other's faces, and they hate each other. Oh, by the way, The Miz is possibly injured, so hopefully he's just taken out of the match. So they're just hate each other. Owens finally has it. He's finally got this weaselly little shit that he's hated for 7 years. And he grabs his arms and he hooks them behind his back, grabs onto his legs, and he folds them up into a neat little package, and he package pile drives Sami Zayn straight through a ladder. Then, while those two are selling, you hear the faint chant start in the crowd. Woo! 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 Oh! And the broski runs in, ascends the ladder, throws up the L.I. The crowd pops. Ah! Wow, broski! Woo! Zack Ryder unhooks the IC Championship, and that's it, baby. Our new Intercontinental Champion in the year 2016 is the one, the only, Zack the Ryder. I might cost myself the prediction contest with that one, but I just have to. I have to go with Zack Ryder.
I'm proud of you for taking that stand, man. I really am.
I'm going to win the Cewshcast gimmick on this one. I'm just going to pick all the left.
You know what's so funny about that? I was literally going to make that exact same pick for that exact same reason. So thank you for doing it first.
You're welcome, sir.
You know, there is one thing that I've always wanted to see in a ladder match that they could do in this one, which is that somebody like Zack Ryder, who you'd never think would win, like climbs up to the top, grabs the belt, and like jumps off the ladder in celebration, and then like Kevin Owens catches him, takes the belt out of his hands, and drops him on the ground.
That would be awesome.
Because he's not the champ till he hits the ground. I don't know who the fuck's going to win this match. Part of me thinks that it might be Sami Zayn, just to kind of super kick off that feud. Part of me thinks it might just be Kevin Owens retaining. Part of me thinks it might be somebody completely ridiculous, though I am very certain it's not Zack Ryder.
You never know.
So I don't know, man. I have a sneaking suspicion about it, the way they booked it on SmackDown.
I'm going to go out of total left field and pick the person who I want it to be, and so I'm picking Stardust. Fuck it.
Dude, I am always down for some Stardust, so...
Yeah, if they wanted to actually, like, give Stardust the win and, like, do something with him instead of just having him, like, stick around and be a joke, I'd be all for that. I really would. And I want to see the return of Starbird.
Of what?
Starbird?
It was the name of the ladder that he tried to pull out last year.
Oh, the golden one?
Yeah, the one that, like, immediately got broken by Barrett.
Oh, okay.
I want to see the return of Starbird.
Sure.
All right. So we have 3 completely different options. I might have the most likely, but there are at least 2 other most likely ones, so we'll see. Now, next up is one of the matches that I previously said that I'm legitimately stoked for it. I think it's been relatively built well, and it actually has like a big fight WrestleMania feel. And so far, like, I feel like this is the chance that the women are going to get to really show what they can do. I hope they get plenty of ring time, and I hope that they follow through on whatever happens with this match. It's Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks for the the Divas Championship, which hopefully we see a babyface win, and then they change the title, because I'm so sick of hearing the Divas Championship. This is kind of a tough one. I don't think Charlotte walks out with it. I think this is the time for her to drop it. I think this is like where they can kind of, they kind of got the chance to make Charlotte by having her, finally beat Nikki, and also, like, she's related to Flair. Like, it was really easy to do. This is their chance to make either Sasha or Becky off of that. And I mean, Sasha's already stupid over. Becky, she progressively gets more over and can deliver like no other. If I had to pick, I mean, I think this is going to be Sasha Banks' moment, and I think they run with her as a babyface for a bit. I don't know, like, she's plays such a perfect heel, but they can't like just have her win this and then immediately turn heel. I guess they could, but I'm going to say Sasha Banks wins one way or another.
My money would definitely be on the Boss, because, like, there's just so, like, you can't go wrong with Sasha. Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of the three of them. I'm going to pick Becky just because I love Becky. I think she's had a very silent underdog build in this whole feud. She's going into this match being completely undermined. And I would love if Sasha and Becky do the thing where they both lock into submission on Charlotte, and she taps, and then they're like, well, let's just restart the match with the two of them. Or something like that,
That would be great.
I want it to come down to those two, and then Becky gets the sneak win. And then Sasha kind of stays as the Boss, and she gets nastier, and then she beats Becky for the title, like, in a month or two, But I would love for Becky to get the win here. So that's my vote. It's Becky Lynch.
It's funny that you should say that, because I'm going to go ahead and lock in my pick for Charlotte. I think she's going to retain. I think the WWE still sees her as definitively the person who they want in that role. And, yeah, I think that Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch are both going to get shots throughout the course of the year. I think this is something that could culminate in another triple threat all the way at, like, SummerSlam or something like that. I don't really think that the feud between these three is anywhere close to done. But at the end of the day, I don't see them taking it off of Charlotte yet.
All right. I love when we have completely different answers. This is beautiful. Okay, so next up is, I assume, what people would consider one of the three main events. I mean, in my eyes, there are like three main events they're building up to this show. And I would even maybe consider the triple threat match. I mean, like, I look at it as one of my main events. I don't know if WWE's necessarily built it that much. But anyway, that's besides the point. This next one is going to be a weird spectacle. There's no room in between. It's only going to be balls out awesome or god awful. And that is The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon in a Hell in a Cell. And if Shane wins, he gets control of, quote-unquote, Monday Night Raw. And if Undertaker loses, he can never wrestle again.
At WrestleMania.
Oh, is it just at WrestleMania?
That's the key to my answer. He can never wrestle again at WrestleMania.
Okay. That actually changes a lot. Okay, well, in that case, I think it's going to be Shane. Like, I think they want to make that, like, it's just kind of weird to me to make this big change, like, like, tease this big change and then not give it to us. And I mean, I guess they could, like, have Shane lose, and then as Cewsh actually alluded to in a previous episode, like, maybe he loses, but Vince is like, all right, you lost, but I feel bad, so I'll give you a SmackDown, or something like that. And then it leads to a brand split or something, and I really don't want that. But regardless of what happens storyline-wise afterwards, I feel like Shane wins, if only because the whole Undertaker can't wrestle at WrestleMania thing makes it seem like it's a guarantee that Taker has to win. And I think it's the opposite. I think Shane McMahon pulls it out here. Whether it's from a bunch of help or he just becomes an MMA badass and gets it done, it's Shane.
Yeah, dude, no doubt for me it's Shane. And a lot of people said once that Undertaker stipulation came around that it was for sure Taker winning. But to me, I think Taker loses, and then he does SummerSlam against somebody he wants to wrestle, and then he retires at this year's Survivor Series against John Cena.
That's not a bad option.
So, and you said something, you said, I think people consider this one of the main events. To me, this is the main event. This is the match that will close the show. I genuinely believe this match will close the show because Triple H and Roman Reigns is going to get booed to all shit. And they want to close the show with at least two people who will get some smattering of cheers. I mean, it'll get booed when Shane wins, but I do think that the show is going to go out with at least this big match, this big Hell in a Cell match. So yeah, I think that this is actually the show closer, even though a lot of people seem to doubt it.
I think it could be the show closer, and I wouldn't really even necessarily blame them if they did go with this as that. But I think, honestly, I'm picking The Undertaker to win. I laid out the scenario where Shane McMahon would take over SmackDown because it makes more sense in terms of the storyline and the narrative and in terms of building up SmackDown to have Shane McMahon be the babyface who's like kind of coming on trying to defeat the old diehard of Raw. I don't think that a win needs to happen in order to do that, and I do see a scenario where either like Shane just like, I already own SmackDown, Vince, I'll go ahead and take that. Like, there's a million ways that you could spin that, and I do think that they're going to. And I think that ultimately Taker will win because that's how these matches tend to go, but I think Shane's going to put on enough of a show where it's just like, well, fuck, what a war that was. We all respect Shane, etc., etc. If they're really going with this forward, and like the only thing that makes me hesitate is the fact that they kind of went with this match out of nowhere as emergency booking, so I don't know that they have a long-term plan for this like we're hoping they do. But if they do and they go with it, then I think like building respect for Shane as he gets so close but loses, maybe because Vince interferes or something like that, I think that's the way to go. I think that's how you build that brand, that rebellious babyface brand of SmackDown.
I like your thinking. That makes a lot of sense.
No, it's not. It's not even a bad idea. It's just like the story is so half-assed right now anyway.
Right.
It's just like it could honestly go anywhere because it's not fleshed out in any way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, like, right at the very end of the match, the Boogeyman comes up from the ring, devours both of them, and says, I own Monday Night Raw.
I would not be surprised either.
Okay, so we're going to go to the next match, which I consider one of the other main events, and possibly the match that I'm most looking forward to. Well, I think that's a triple threat match. Will probably be the better in-ring, like, from a technical standpoint match. This match has, like, all the makings of a wonderful train wreck, like a good train wreck, the kind that, you know, is fake and filmed and everyone can enjoy it and no one has to feel bad about it. And that's going to be Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar in a no-holds-barred street fight, which, I mean, I don't really know what street fight doesn't have holds or has holds barred, but you know, whatever. The point is that both of these guys can be good to great without, you know, no DQ. When there isn't a disqualification rule in there, they both excel to an extreme level. Ambrose in particular, like Ambrose, you know, he gets really creative, and Lesnar's just fucking crazy and will take and do anything. And Ambrose is the same fucking way. I mean, like anything that happens in this match is probably like, you know, a sliver of the punishment that Dean Ambrose used to take on a regular basis. So, I mean, I'm just really stoked for this because obviously I'm a huge Dean Ambrose fan. I have been ever since like he showed up in FCW and I found out who the fuck he was. I think that he needs to be one of the main stars in WWE going forward. Not necessarily like the guy but someone that's, always up there, and someone that ultimately becomes the guy that if you beat him, it means something. If you're feuding with him, it means something. And it kind of already does, just because he's one of the only guys they push, feature prominently, and all that crap. So I think there's a chance that they could have Ambrose win this. But I think what we actually get here is Brock Lesnar winning, and, Ambrose takes him to the absolute limit, and after it's all said and done, Lesnar just kind of like picks him up, smiles, shakes his hand, says, "You're a crazy motherfucker," and, basically, Lesnar doesn't give that respect to anyone. So for him to do that is almost bigger than Ambrose actually beating Lesnar. And I think from there they catapult Ambrose into like a whole level of stardom.
Yeah, I got the exact same thoughts. I think they do the Jeff Hardy, Undertaker ladder match type thing, where Brock just murders Dean. Dean fights as hard as he can. He busts out everything he can. He gets that 2 7/8 pin before Brock kicks out, because I don't think anybody's even had Brock down for like a 2 count yet. So I think Dean gets him all the way, and then finally he does that one swing too many where he goes for the clothesline, and Brock just picks him up F5s, and then he just grabs Mike's like, "I'm not dead yet," and Brock just gives him the "Okay, kid, you're good," and then that begins Dean's transition into the title scene, with a possible title run later this year. So my money's on Brock Lesnar.
I'm picking Dean Ambrose. And I'm picking Dean Ambrose, A, to be super contrary and get some points. B, because you ever get fantasy bookings lodged so firmly in your head that even though you know it's not going to happen, you just can't think of anything else?
Mm-hmm. I've been there a lot.
I genuinely think Seth Rollins comes back during this match. I'm not saying he's turning face. I'm just saying that he attacks Brock Lesnar, and I'm just saying that some kind of weird storyline goes on after that. It may not happen, I don't know, but he's ready to return sometime in April thing usually means that they're lying and he's going to come back a month earlier, because that's how WWE does that sort of thing. And I don't know, man. It seems too convenient for me. It's probably more likely that he'll show up in the Triple H Roman Reigns match, but I'm just trying to find a way that Dean Ambrose could win this thing. So fuck it, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I actually like that idea a lot of Seth doing the run-in, because then it puts also the thought in people's mind that, oh my God, Seth and Dean will do the run-in during Reigns Triple H, even if it doesn't happen.
Right.
It's at least in people's minds. So I actually like that idea a lot.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, like, if they want to go full-fledged and have Ambrose beat Lesnar in any way, whether it's with help or not, like, I'm definitely not against that, but obviously, I'm being realistic. I'm cool with either option, though. So let's move on to what, is at least perceived as the actual main event, which is Roman Reigns versus Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Despite everyone's crying and complaining and moaning and WWE's, really bad booking for a while there, I'm kind of stoked for this match. Like, I honestly, what they've done the last 2 weeks with Roman has been great, and I feel like this is going to be kind of a sleeper match like Lesnar-Roman was. I think despite everyone complaining about it, and even if the crowd boos the shit out of it early on, I won't be surprised if, like, by the second half of the match, the crowd is just eating up every second of it, and if they don't kind of, like, side with Roman a bit. Maybe they won't actually side with Roman, but I think that people will end up getting caught up in this match, because I just had this feeling that out of nowhere this match is going to be really awesome. As for who's going to win, I'm going to go with the obvious. I think Roman gets it here. I think they just get it out of the way. I think that's what they kind of need to do at this point. Like, get it out of the way, let him have his reign without any fuckery, and just get it done. And if it doesn't work, go back to the fucking drawing board. But at this point, like, all you really can do is just go through with it. And I think that's what they will.
Okay, so first of all, are we not going to discuss AJ Styles and Chris Jericho?
Wait, oh, is that even officially announced for the
It's
card
not
yet?
official, but you know it's going to be on.
Okay, you see, and that's why I always forget that that's going to happen. So let's go ahead and talk about that and at least get a prediction going for it. I love that Jericho turned heel, and I think he's done a decent job with it. I still don't think the feud is that fantastic, but I do think the new dynamic can make the match actually legitimately interesting. Styles needs to win, and it needs to be over after this.
Yeah, just the quick and easy, man. I mean, this feud was made to get AJ Styles over. I love Chris Jericho for everything he's done in this feud, for being completely unselfish. 100% AJ Styles is taking it, and I like this feud a lot, and I like where it's going, and the match is going to be great.
I don't know if the match is going to be great because Chris Jericho wrestles about as well as my arthritic aunt does, but let's say AJ Styles wins.
All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's get back to where we were. You already heard what I said about Roman Triple H. I predicted Roman Reigns. Artie, you're up next.
Okay, so I'm predicting Reigns because this feud's been going on for 2 years now, and I think the whole payoff is Roman Reigns winning. What I would like to see is Triple H's boys run down. You know, I would like to see a surprise appearance from maybe Batista. I would love for J&J Security to run down. You know, I just want Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, and then for Reigns, you know, I obviously want Dean and Seth to run down to try and beat off all these old guys. And then when nothing's working, Triple H's guys are beating the shit out of Dean and Seth, and Roman's, you know, it's getting close. The crowd's going quiet. They're waiting. They're waiting. Please, Roman, please. Please win this. And then it happens. It comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
No.
You gotta take a stand. It don't help to hide.
No.
Gotta be a man. Out comes Hogan, brother. He points the finger. He drops the leg. He says, "You!" And he calls everyone brother, dude, and Jack. And he just drops them left and right. Axe bomber here. Axe bomber there. Hogan fucking wins the match for Reigns. It literally comes off to spear. 1, 2. Triple H kicks out. He gets up. Axe bomber. Spear. Leg drop. 1, 2, 3. Your new champion, Roman Hogan Reigns.
No. God damn
Yeah,
it.
Reigns is my pick.
Jesus Christ.
Please, yes.
I was right there with you the whole time. If you had said, like, The Rock comes out with, like, all of the Samoans, like the Usos and Rikishi, like, every living Samoan comes out to fight all of Triple H's
Even the
cronies.
dead ones come out. Yoko and Umaga just fucking show up.
Yes. Just Incredible comes out to help Triple H with a shirt that says, "I was in the clique, remember?"
Me too, me too. Remember me? Oh, Sean's got to be there. Everyone, yeah.
I want to see like a 60-person brawl outside the ring of just everybody anybody knows.
Oh yeah, I'll even take China coming back for a run-in. Like, I'll put everyone in there.
And they all get full entrances. I want the main event to take 2.5 hours.
At least. I mean, it's a 12-hour show. Why not?
Oh, Christ. You know, it would be so easy to say that Roman wins. It's almost certain that he does win. But what if Triple H wins? What if Triple H wins because they're building up to all of this stuff coming up in the month ahead? No, he's not going to. Roman Reigns wins.
All right, and boy, are we going to be salty when Triple H does win and goes on a year-long reign.
Yeah, I'm all about it, man. I hope he defends the belt literally just every WrestleMania.
Honestly, it would be great if Triple H, because the next 2 years are in Florida, right? So, like, fuck it. Just let Triple H do it every year in Florida where he's a god. You know, that man brought NXT. The fans would love him.
Yeah, they should really just, like, they should build him a throne in the offices of NXT, and then he should only conduct promos from there, just being like, "I refuse to leave Florida, brother. I'm here on my throne."
Some would say Florida brother.
Florida brother. Hogan will be there as his secretary.
Secretary Balea.
Yes.
Clever bastards.
Oh, yes.
We were going to do like a whole discussion on NXT TakeOver Dallas and all that. There's some great things going on there, but unfortunately, we took a lot of time with the WrestleMania predictions. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut straight to the point that was relevant, which are the two bonus questions for this predictions contest, which will be predictions for two matches from NXT TakeOver Dallas. Those two matches are the co-main event matches. So we're going to go with the first one, which will be Bayley versus Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship. This is kind of a hard one to call because I wouldn't be surprised if Bayley wants to stick it out a little bit longer, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be calling her up right after WrestleMania, and I mean, Asuka should just have that belt. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this is Asuka.
Oh, 1,000% Asuka. I think Bayley's had a great run since fucking August. She's given everything she has to that belt. Definitely time to pass it along, and Asuka's the right person. This is the biggest stage they can have right now. Give it to Asuka.
I don't know, guys. I'm actually going to say that it's Bayley. I honestly think that it is. I think Asuka is definitely going to get it at some point. I think that Bayley's probably going to get a call up to the main roster sooner than later, honestly, since they seem to be calling up every single woman who they can possibly fit onto the main roster at any given time, even if there's nothing for them to do. But Bayley, I think Bayley's going to retain. This is still a very fresh feud. They're still friends in the context of this feud. I think that this will descend into more of like a kind of war, more of a like somebody turns heel on somebody else, probably Asuka turning on Bayley. That is her way. But I definitely think that it isn't over nearly yet, and I think for it to go forward, I think Bayley's going to have to win.
Okay, it's a good assessment. Now let's go on to this next one, which is Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. And, I mean, honestly, my opinion's the same way as it is the last match. Only in this match, like what Cewsh's mentality is, this is the second match. This is the point where, like, the feud is at, like, boiling level. And Joe's, like, worked, like, he's gone through hell and high water to get the title shot. He had to beat Sami Zayn like 3 different fucking times. Well, I guess like he didn't beat him all those times, but you know he had to wrestle him 3 different times. And yeah, I just think this is the time to give Joe the belt, and I think they keep it with him for a while they start building up that next, you know, generation of the top NXT guys. And Finn, I think he's destined for the main roster soon, especially if with Bullet Club coming in. Or whatever the hell they're actually going to call them. I think this is Samoa Joe getting the belt.
Yeah, I can honestly tell you, I genuinely think all the titles change hands here. I think it's the reset kind of period, and much like with Bayley Asuka, I think Balor's had a fucking hell of a run since July. Time to drop the belt, pass the torch, and come up to the main roster.
I think it's Samoa Joe, too. I think that this is Samoa Joe's time. I think that this was inevitable the second that he stepped foot on the roster that it would actually happen this way, and I think that he'll hold it until somebody else is ready. I think that he's probably the most capable down the road of getting the best out of guys like Nakamura and Itami. I think that he's perfectly positioned to be that guy, and since he's someone who's they're never going to bring up to the main roster, he's a great main star for that brand because he never has to go anywhere. You know, they can always tour with him on top. So I mean, it's just a good choice.
Yes, Kitty, you are right.
Cat loves Samoa Joe.
Okay, so that is all of the predictions, and of course that means it is the end of my segment of the show. So we're going to go to the next segment of the show, which will be handled by Cewsh, and as usual, it would be 5, but that was way too many, man. So this time, you're getting 3 questions.
All right, boys and girls, this is my segment of the show and your segment of the show. This is where you sent in your questions to us via Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Raja.com, CewshReviews@gmail.com, and CewshReviews, no longer Blogspot.com, now just CewshReviews.com. You sent in your questions about various topics, whether it be WrestleMania, deep sea drilling, Voltron, trees, whatever the fuck else that you've sent in questions about. We've been asking you about themed questions lately, but none of the deep sea drilling questions weren't about my mother, so we're not going to be featuring any of them this time around. We're just going to have 3 normal questions that these two and me are going to answer real quick here, going right into it. So let's start with VHS on Raja.com. His question was, do you think Roman is going to be in the main event scene next year? And what role do you think Triple H will play next year as well?
Roman Reigns will definitely be in the main event scene. I assume he'll be your headline match again. Triple H will honestly, I don't... Call me crazy, I think Triple H will actually have a match at NXT TakeOver next year instead of WrestleMania. Maybe also at WrestleMania, but I could see him working at NXT TakeOver instead.
I see Roman Reigns being involved up top. Like, I don't think he'll necessarily be in the title match. I could definitely see him being in, like, the Ambrose position this year, where he's in a marquee match that's probably considered one of the main events. But unless they finally, like, pull the trigger on, like, say, like, a Shield triple threat, I don't think he's going to be in the actual main event. As far as Triple H, I think he'll definitely be taking more of a step back. I don't think he'll have any titles, though. Artie's shout of him potentially working at NXT TakeOver, like, I think that's something that's going to happen at some point, one time or another. But will he be involved in next year's WrestleMania? I'm going to be bold and say that he sits in that one out.
I definitely think that Triple H probably won't still be in this, at least this kind of position, come this time next year. And unfortunately, while Roman Reigns is having a great career at the moment, by this time next year, I think he'll be a little bit busy being my husband.
Of course he will be.
That dude is fine. Okay, moving on to question number 2. Sorry, I get lost in that sometimes. This one is from Popcorn Emoji on Twitter, and he wants to know who is going to have the best entrance. Now, there are some rumors swirling around about somebody's entrance on this show. I would honestly just say that it's probably going to be Triple H who has the best entrance because he always does, but does anybody else even have a chance?
I think it's
close.
I think it's a year for big entrances. I think my Stone Cold New Day entrance could steal the show.
I think it would definitely steal the show.
But on the slight chance that doesn't happen, it's going to be Triple H fucking stealing the show. I mean, good lord, it's Triple H. It's going to be his last WrestleMania as champion. Like, the dude is going to have the most batshit insane entrance ever.
Yeah, I mean, to really argue against Triple H having the most badass entrance is really hard because he is like the entrance guy now, and people don't usually top that. I mean, like, Undertaker always has great entrances, but they're hardly ever really different from his normal entrance. It's just the vibe, you know, it's the atmosphere because it's WrestleMania and all that. So, I mean, it's probably going to be Triple H. New Day are apparently working on something. I think they'll have a great one. I also want to give a little shout that I think that there's a possibility that Sasha Banks does a little something special. Can't say anything yet, but I think she'll have something a little planned.
I mean, there are rumors that a certain rapper might be involved in her entrance. That would be pretty fucking sweet if it was actually true.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool to see Coolio out there with her, but you know.
Yeah.
Damn it, Artie, why'd you ruin it for everyone? I was trying to keep the surprise.
All right, let's move on for question number 3. This one's from Ushibushi on Twitter, and he wants to know, do you think that Dolph Ziggler has had a Hall of Fame career?
Irrelevant question these days. Everybody gets into the Hall of Fame now. Like, it doesn't actually matter anymore. Like, I'll tell you that one. It's
okay.
like,
yeah, but it almost might be a better question to be like, do you think WWE thinks he's had a Hall of Fame career?
Yeah.
I think he's had enough, you know, like, he's won the title, he's won the Money in the Bank, he had the moment where he was, like, the hero for the Survivor Series team, you know, like, he's feuded with John Cena, he's done enough that I think that, like, you know, when they don't have anyone else better to put in, they're going to give it to him. But as far as, like, will they consider him a priority when he's retired, or like, if there was still a level of credibility to who gets in the Hall of Fame, has he earned it? Not really. And as much as that pains me to say that, he hasn't. He's been a great worker, and I think he could have if they let him do some actual runs. Like if his title run hadn't gotten fucked over by injury and then seemingly stopped giving a shit, I think he could have been. But at this point, I don't think he does have an actual Hall of Fame worthy career. But I think he'll probably end up making it in as long as he doesn't burn his bridges.
I think you're very probably right. And that already brings us to the end of this segment because 3 questions is not very many. So that brings us pretty much to the end of the show. We've covered WrestleMania. Honestly, I think it's going to be a much better show than most people are thinking it's going to be. NXT TakeOver Dallas is going to be a fucking fantastic show, so catch that even if you don't catch WrestleMania. And in spirit of WrestleMania week, I think we should give you guys a week off from homework since it's basically wrestling Christmas. So instead of homework, let's say, who would you love to see get one more match at WrestleMania?
Tough one. I think we all know who my favorite wrestlers are, so I gotta say Ernest the Cat Miller.
Yes.
Sure.
I've been waiting for that return. Fuck, that'd be so great. Honestly, I could go with something obvious like Daniel Bryan or CM Punk, but I'm gonna say the one person I'd like to see have one more match at WrestleMania, and it'd probably be awful, but you could say that it happened. Scott Hall.
He kind of did, right?
No. I don't want him to be involved in a match. I want him to be in the match.
Oh, like him versus Ernest the Cat Miller.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that would be so mean to everyone who had to watch it. My choice is the only one of these 3 people who still has working hips, so I'm going to go with Bobby fucking Lashley.
Why am I surprised?
You really should be. That's the whole reason I asked the question to start with. Come on, man! He's a TNA main eventer.
Yeah, but he's also a Bellator main eventer. Now, since he does the MMA thing, right? Would you book him in a traditional wrestling match, or would you try to do a MMA exhibition versus Ernest the Cat Miller?
I think definitely that one. That has the most entertainment value.
I think that's the way to go, honestly.
Just to make it fair to Ernest the Cat, I think definitely more of a sumo match between him and Bobby Lashley. All right, and that'll bring us to the end of the show. As always, please, by all means, enjoy the WrestleMania weekend. Enjoy everything about it. If you have anything that you want to talk to us about, ask us about, preach to us about from WrestleMania weekend, you can hit us on Twitter. I'm at Cewsh Reviews. Artie is at ArtieDeEnd, and Jules is at APsychoSoldier on Twitter. By all means, hit us up anytime that you feel the need to. And in the meantime, as always, stay classy, don't smoke crack, and remember to always eat your dildos and your burgers. Thank you, and good night.